Hi, dear friends. Good morning. Welcome back to Aksharadhare. I'm Devraj. Today is 15th December 2023. I hope you guys are learning great and earning great. And also, you guys following the tips which I have given in the previous videos. And also, reading the newspaper regularly. So let's start reading the newspaper, The Hindu. Before going to start the newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share it to your friends. It may be useful for somebody to utilize the opportunities from Akshar Dare and the team. Let's start reading the newspaper, The Hindu. The front page. Let's see what's in the front page. This is the front page. HCLO survey of Shahi Idgah Mosque. Agency is told to follow CBI manual. Wholesale prices rose 0.26% in November. Should India set a higher bar to address it? Surya Kumar Kuldeep help India make it 1-1. Terror charges invoked in security breach case. Police called the act a well-planned conspiracy attack on Parliament. Four accusers sent to 7-day police custody. Another who filmed stir outside Parliament held. 8 security personnel suspended. 14 opposition MPs suspended from House amid face-off. Global downturn hits states startup funding FDI. DK's favor white topping more routes. Sans launched Mother's Milk Bank inaugurated. 2000 more CCTV cameras in city, says Parameshwara. Days after sinkhole appears on the city, and city DK's favors more white topping. Naming of airports after icons recommended. Traffic police begin special drive against school vehicles. Gang of 5 arrested for stealing from petty shops. Women and her 2 children held on murder charge. Tanishq. SWR starts electric trains to Chikaballapur. Lufthansa to double flight frequency. Conduct pregnancy test in all cases of rape, sexual offense, and minor children. Belagavi stripping case victims' plight worse than what Draupadi faced. PCP PNDT violations. Only 100 cases filed in 21 years across Karnataka. No case in 14 districts, while one case each has been filed in 6 districts. The highest number of cases has been booked in Bangalore Harban. Government proposes amending law to end female PTSD. Another abortion racket unearthed at private hospital. Health department officials found a fresh female fetus in the dustbin of the hospital during a raid. IISc scientists developed technique to encapsulate liquid droplets used for various applications. Spotlight: new cyber threats catch infotech cyber unawares. In the context of the recent bomb acts box threat email that around 70 schools in and around Bangalore received and chaos it unleashed in the city. KV Aditya Bhardwaj and Jahnavi TR look at the emerging nature of cyber threats and assess the infrastructural readiness to face new challenges. Four artists open up on their respective films and how word cinema shaped their filmmaking sense. Mixed bags of goodies. Wow, words. Atman D. Soja plays Soldier Silence tells the story of a chance encounter between an American soldier and an Iraqi militant. Midnight Delight. States startup funding has seen 80% dip and FDI down by 46% due to a global slowdown. Bangalore, known as India's startup capital, is facing the impact of global challenges mid-year review of state finances. Five guarantees will boost economic growth in short term, says mid-year review. SCST funds, SCM challenges center, BJP ruled states to enact legislation. Government wants to meet PM Upper Bandra Bhadra. Meghalaya projects DKs. Assembly adopts three bills, including Advocates Bill. Center says its state is at to submit proposal on increasing MG and IEG mandates. Vedika for T. C.R. Simha at a year-long tribute to Kannada theatre legend. Over the last year, Vedika Foundation has performed around 10 productions and about 40 shows. Narrating a classic through ballad. Drag princesses tea and coloring the gender bender. Karnataka in focus for 94.53% of documents were registered. Kaveri 2 system of registration in DK. Kaveri 2 registration started in Udupi. Add SROs for Dakshina Kannada, cradle of banking sector districts. How fraudsters stole money using biometric details in sub-register offices. A senior police official overseeing investigation into the AEPS fraud cases in Mangaluru said multiple gangs based in Bihar were involved in siphoning money. Three BJP leaders attend Congress dinner in Belagavi, Ganti rallies. Moving SC against center a historic fight, says Pinarayi. CM says Kerala's petition seeks to restore the constitutional rights of states. He odds that the center's discriminatory against actions on financial front are aimed at throwing the state into dire straits. DRT has no power to impound passport at sea. Keeping it relevant, COP meetings must use climate science to promote justice and equity. COP28, many a slippery slope ahead. Let's read this editorial page. Much rested on COP28 in Dubai, a milestone event slated to take off the first 5 yearly global stocktake with respect to goals set under the Paris Agreement to combat the climate crisis. The global stocktake covers mitigation, adaptation, financing, and other support to developing countries, for which a report of technical deliberations and a synthesis report had been prepared as inputs to the COP. Based on the global stocktake review at COP28, countries would be required to submit raised emissions reduction targets by mid 2025 for finalization at COP30. The global stock take input reports conveyed what is already known from all major scientific studies. That is, a window for restricting global heating to 5.5% degree centigrade above pre-industrial levels is rapidly closing. Global average temperature rise is already dangerously close to that limit, having already touched it on many days this year. Severe heat waves, droughts, forest fires, floods, and extreme rainfall are already being witnessed more frequently across the world, along with possible irreversible melting of polar and glacial ice and sea level rise. The urgency to rein in greenhouse gas emissions causing climate change was clearly top of the agenda in Dubai. Focus on fossil fuels. From the outset, fossil fuels are responsible for around 75% of all greenhouse gases and about 90% of global carbon dioxide emissions took center stage at a COP28, astonishingly for the first time ever in climate COPs. Anxieties about the influence of the oil industry and supporting governments had already been swirling around. With the COP being held in the Gulf, the COP28 President Sultan Al Jaber, United Arab Emirates Minister and head of the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, one of the world's largest oil and gas producer, further set the cat among the pigeons by claiming in an interview that there was no science that called for cutting back on fossil fuels to tackle climate change. Journalists and activists had also noted that fossil fuel companies had been steadily increasing their presence at the COPs after even as members of official country delegations, giving them access to the main negotiation rooms. The numbers had shot up to 2,000 at Dubai, larger than any country's delegation. On the positive side, all three successive global stock take and dropped text echoed that GST input. Findings that the 1.5% degree centigrade target would require deep, rapid, and sustained reduction in global emissions of 43% by 2030 and 60% by 2035 relative to 2019 levels, reaching net zero CO2 by 2050, with global emissions expected to peak around 2020 or latest by 2025. After the initial draft text drew mixed responses, especially over phase down or out of fossil fuels. The second draft was circulated much later on the penultimate day and evoked copious reactions. It gave only a bullet list of options that countries could take towards emissions cuts, including reduction of fossil fuel production and use, and underplaying financial support from developed countries. Small island states called the text a death sentence. African countries said they would not leave without assurances on funding. And the European Union threatened to walk out, saying the 1.5 degree centigrade target could not be attained with such a text. Inevitable. The COP was extended by a day and a fresh text was tabled in the morning of December 13. This drop sought to square the circle on fossil fuels by calling for transitioning away from fossil fuels, which several countries and observers suggested be read as signaling the end of the fossil fuel era. In the relief over this compromise, other serious leukemia were overlooked. It dropped with loose definitions. The final draft had many loopholes that could prolong production and use of fossil fuels and favored the industry as well as rich developed countries with advanced technologies. While calling for a phase down of unabated coal power, the door was left open for low carbon fuels, low emission technologies, low carbon hydrogen, and transitional fuels widely used in Europe and the United States to describe natural gas, all terms with very loose definitions. It also made a special mention of carbon capture, utilization, and storage, which has not achieved commercial viability and whose eventual emissions savings are unknown. and emission reductions and shift to clean energy. The draft also did not adequately refer to equity or common but differentiated responsibility, possibly under pressure from the US looking to treat all countries on a par. This draft also did not take the issue of financial support by developed countries further, causing much anguish to climate vulnerability countries. The draft did express concern that the earlier commitment of 100 billion per dollar per year by 2020, however inadequate, had not been met. It repeated the global stocktake report's estimation that developing countries needed about 5.8 to 5.9 billion trillion for the trillion dollar for the pre 2030 period, with adaptation alone requiring 215 to 387 dollar per year, and clean energy transition requiring about a 4.3% trillion dollar per year, both until 2030. Yet, no fresh targets were mentioned in the draft, not even for the new loss and damage fund firmly set up on the first day and gathering pledges for a meager $470 million. The closing plenary was called just a few hours after the final draft was published, giving country delegations title little time for discussions. While delegates were milling about, the COP president quickly tabled the draft, noted that there were no objections, and gave valid it through. And the live webcast, the delegates appeared stunned. Then a ripple of applause grew slowly into the usual standing ovation. As often happens had brought climate cups, the relief at any closer, good or not, seems better than opposing an apparent consensus. Disquit. Yet, voices of Disquit were explicit post facto. The delegate from us somehow representing the small Iceland states said that she and other Iceland delegations were outside discussing the text when it was gaveled through in their absence, and went on to spell out a long list of their objections. Many more such voices followed, for example, from Africa, cheaply criticizing the lax attitude towards fossil fuels and the lack of financial support announced. The COP28 declaration has left almost all the problems where they were before, other than recording a decision to transition away from fossil fuels, which countries were already doing in practice, and not noting the broad global target for higher emissions reduction to achieve the 1.5% degree centigrade goal. Nothing much of substance has been gained at COP28. A roadmap towards new targets in 2025 was not drawn up. Financial assistance was not scaled up. The global goal on adaptation was left half baked. A number of other documents were not finalized or approved. On the other hand, the fossil fuel industry went back happy, as did the developed countries, which successfully dealt yet another blow against international equity and have against escaped putting CS funds on the table. Authenticity in a post-authentic world. Let's read this article written by the professor. Merriam-Webster's Word of the Year for 2023 is authentic, which is a fitting follow-up to their Word of the Year choices for 2022. Gaslighting, a term for deceiving someone into doubting their own realities or beliefs. To thine own self be true. Polonius' remarks in Hamlet serve as a constant reminder to examine ourselves. However, according to Merriam-Webster, when we question authenticity, we value it even more honestly as before. These days, even every bit of our lifestyle is artificial intelligence AI driven. Deepfakes and forced truths have blurred the boundary between real and fake. Authenticity gets prominence as Elon Musk believes that individuals should be more authentic on social media, and celebrities such as Taylor Swift strive for authentic voice and authentic self. but is that origin of authenticity while it is a desirable quality? What does that term authentic really describe? Being true to one's own self personality, spirit, or character, not false or imitation, made or done in the same way as an original. An evolving mechanism. Over time, the mechanism of authenticity evolved, although Raussia maintained that the need for others' approval undermines authenticity. Sartre and Eager acknowledged that external influences are unavoidable and that society and the natural world shape us just as much as our own choices. Therefore, authenticity in today's world ought to be entwined with a celebrity culture, identity, and social media, along with AI and its deep fake avatar. It is also bound to be closely related to fake news, which surfaced out of nowhere in November 2016, even though former US President Donald Trump relentlessly bashed the media as fake news. Merriam-Webster states that its origin date back to the 1890s. Miss Mussolini even distributed a manipulated photo of himself to the general public. His authenticity, the plague of the 21st century, what has transpired is that because of constantly advancing technology, it is now easier, less expensive, and quicker to produce and distribute fake contents. It even raises the question of whether Mr. Trump was key in creating the post truth word or whether he was merely one of post truth's greatest products during its formative stages. The barrier, however, has now been breached by generative AI. The origin has been expanded further. Today's AI avatars are able to create a realistic looking opinion page articles, fiction, paintings, and even research papers after admitting that AI was used to create a prize winning photograph. German photographer Boris Eldagsen declined the Sony World Photography Award in April, stating that he was curious to find out if contests were ready for AI photos to enter. Evidently, they were not. We witnessed an AI generated image of Pope Francis donning a stylish pupper jacket, unsettling deepfakes of well known actors, and potentially harmful audio or video clips amid important elections due to social media's magical ability. They quickly reach millions and are capable of orchestrating irreversible damage before being identified as fake and debunked. Furthermore, we would never know the exact number of unidentified fake news stories, articles, images, audio or video clips, and research papers. The shade of uncertainty widens. Apocalypse is imminent. According to AI scientist Nina Skik and Apocalypse, the biggest information and communications crisis in world history is imminent. Further, the boundary between mainstream and social media is getting blurred. For instance, in October, the fake news of Amartya Sen's passing swept the media, originating with a post on social media have slipped down the rabbit hole of AI and social media and into the era of post authenticity. Trust, however, is the biggest casualty in effect. In his 2021 book of the same name, journalist Michael Grothas described how society is transforming into a place where we would trust no one. Today, anyone may cast a doubt on anything by just publicly doubting its authenticity, regardless of how real it is. It helps the bad actors. In 2018, American law professors Bobby Chesney and Daniel Citron popularized the phrase lies dividend. The greatest risk to mankind is that we might soon cease to take anything at face value because of AI's presumed ability to create a seemingly convincing text and data. Researchers and journal editors are becoming increasingly concerned about integrity. Allegations of falsified or wrong data on various topics important to the common people, such as GDP, employment, inflation, and the COVID 19 related statistics frequently track different societies. With the AI boom, the falsification of data and text could evolve into a new realm in this post authentic age. AG lines. The lines are separating truth from a falsehood, right from a wrong, love and hate, and war and peace, and are becoming more and more edgy in this post-truth era. We understand that authenticity, which is inherently like an honest performance, remains elusive back because fake news post-authenticity is a social issue that is a sign of waning trust in a common civic and endeavor rather than a purely technological or media problem. Technology's glitter is not helping society either, but we still strive for authenticity and an illuminating, trustworthy future of mankind, even when it seems like we are heading towards a dystopian future in which we would trust no one, sadly. Keeping it relevant, COP2 meetings must use climate science to promote justice and equity. Principled shift, India must take a more vocal position on Gaza with Israel. Is India doing enough to tackle climate change? India needs to be clear that the impacts of climate change are going to be far more than what we have gained by continuing our sustenance on fossil fuels. Ford Mustangs at COP20 had the belief that only more wealth can help us buy our way out of the crisis has gained greater ground. Follow CBI manual on seizure of electronic devices, SE2 agencies. The court said the procedure under the manual should be followed till the center brings out a new guidance in 6 weeks. The petitioners have argued that the personal electronic devices cannot be seized and kept in custody indefinitely. PDP questions BJP blunders in Kashmir in mouthpiece. Touch charges are invoked in security breach case. Allahabad High Court allows survey of Mathura's Shahi Idgah Mosque. Wouldn't interfere if a case is already listed before a judge. After 7 months, 64 bodies said lifted to various Manipur districts for lost rights. Form Nodal Authority for Declared Foreigners. Guwahati tells HC tells Assam. A day after security breach, several changes take effect in Parliament. Extra layer of security deployed in Parliament. Visitors entry clamped down. One of the entrance and exit gates to the new building has now been exclusively reserved for MPs, segregating them from the rest of the crowd, including the media. Gate for the employees has also been changed. Security personnel keeping vigil at Parliament building in New Delhi on Thursday. A series of meetings to review security protocol and recently loopholes have brought several changes. BJP ID cell trying to divert attention from issue. Accused had carried out a well-planned conspiracy. Police tender for redevelopment of Parliament security infra was floated a day before incident. Ayam Panchayat seeks release of Neelam. In its first meet, Chhattisgarh cabinet clears proposal to provide 18 lakh rural homes. Congress to feel late MLA's son in Karanpur election. Absent DMK MP Pathipan cries poll over suspension. Trinamool appeals MP suspension. Urgent need to control use of e-cigarettes, says the WHO. E-cigarettes with nicotine are highly addictive and harmful to health and can lead to cigarette use. It says and urges countries to implement strict measures to protect children and young people. Journalists, writers express solidarity with the news click pounder. DGCA grants airdrome license for Ayodhya Airport. India and US discuss steps to combat financial crimes. SC conditionally suspends conviction of former BSP MP. Activist Ali Abu Awad and pianist Daniel Barenboim win Indira Gandhi Peace Prize. BSF Jawan killed in blast triggered by Naxalites. Use of sanitary pads rising among rural women. Minister. Magnificence of Marghaji. Magnificence of Marghaji. Turkish MP who had a cardiac arrest in parliament dies. Finland on Monday to sign defense cooperation agreement with US. UK bans entry for settlers who targeted Palestinians. European Union has says to resettle nearly 61,000 refugees in 2024 to 25. Israeli bombs Gaza as a ripped war with the US widens over civilian casualties. No peace in Ukraine until goals are achieved. Putin. Israel vows to continue the offensive without international support. A day after US President Joe Biden warned that its indiscriminate bombing on Gaza is eroding global support. At least 18,600 Palestinians have been killed since October 7. US House launches a Republican impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. 1,100 Bangladeshi opposition activists are convicted since September. Seoul scrambles jets after Chinese planes approach. European Union agrees to open membership negotiations with Ukraine. Hungarian PM Abba Orban insisted that the European Union should not yet start talks on Ukraine joining the bloc. Fed surprised Dovi's pivot lifts Sensex to a record high. Powered by technology stocks, BSE Sensex surges 1.34% to an all-time closing high of 70,514.20. Leading Sensex gainers include Tech Mahindra, Infosys, Wipro, HCL Tech, and IndusInd Bank. Lupin Diagnostics eyeing 100 labs in 5 years, CEO Kumar. Fed's Powell says her timing of a rate cuts is next question. Wholesale prices rose in November after a 7-month lull. India's net direct tax receipts rise 23.2%. Jupiter backs 1,617 crore deal for 4,000 railway wagons. Genex Animal Health buys Ayurvet to boost portfolio. Logistics costs are dropped to 7.8% to 8.9% of GDP. Birla case, Kolkata HC alters Arthur is training Lodha. Vedanta bags $1.25 billion debate refinance S&P downgrades. Renuka, Subha and Jimmy Maha make the text debates. We stick to our individual strengths, Lauren Bell. Shami not likely to board the flight to South Africa for the test series. Australian cricketer Green reveals chronic kidney disease. India gets off to a flying start as batters post 410 over 7 on day 1. So much happening all at once, Shubha. After Shivkumar's sizzling show Birthday by Kuldeep takes over. PSG squeezes through Milan out despite beating Newcastle. Real Antwerp claims a famous win over Barcelona. Manchester City makes it 6 out of 6. Atletico Madrid stops its group. Porto through it at the expense of Shakhtar Donetsk. Shreyas to return as KKR captain for IPL 2022. Clinical Germany proves too good for India. And Tim Pangal named UWW Rising Star of the Year. India beats Nepal, wins Women's Series for blind. Anupama finds a way past Hami, wins maiden national ground. Bengal Wizards shows to the top in the Tennis Premier League. SLC appoints Jay Surya as a consultant for 1 year. India strikes it rich at Asian Youth Rapids. 3 ATP Challenger 100 events in India early next year. Warriors Green suspended indefinitely over Nurki clash. Wana eats a ton as Ashish takes control. Uda steps up to the plate, powers Rajasthan to the title round with a brilliant handed. Indrajit brave way wire batted despite a pre-kick injury. Building India's tomorrow. Excon. India is going to be a powerhouse for many decades, believes Aronian. The Armenian born chess great chess is impressed by youngsters' ability to remain calm and composed while playing. This generation is very exciting. It's an unique thing to have so many good players at the same time in the same country hands. Guardiola keen to hard club World Cup to Man City's trophy cabinet. Did COVID as vaccination have a positive impact on mental health? A study in the UK revealed increased incidence of mental health problems after the pandemic. This was a less common among the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated. Researchers explored records of 17 million people in the UK, comparing incidence of 8 types of mental illness over a timeline from the pre-vaccine era to months after vaccine rollout. At an individual level, better mental health could mean the difference between suicide and being alive, being happy or sad, or being unemployed or otherwise. Battling loneliness by reconnecting social lifelines. The COVID 19 lockdown ruined social connections and left people alone. Text and context. This is the last page, guys. The increase in the average power purchase cost. The percentage of India's uninsured population. 95 according to a report by the National Insurance Academy. Bodies of Manipur victims handed over since clashes broke. The children adopted by Indians so far in 2023 to 24. The Russian military personnel deployed in Ukraine. Is Russia winning the Ukraine war? As Ukraine's counteroffensive failed, what has been the impact of Western sanctions on Russia? Has Western support and aid for Ukraine decreased? Hafiz talks an option at this stage of Russia-Ukraine war. A stalemate in the counteroffensive. On the word, an account from the 54th International Film Festival of India. IFFI Goa 2023 screened close to 270 films from 105 countries in 12 halls at 4 venues in a week. A quick look at the kind of films which were shown and the political, social, and economic themes these movies touched upon. The Achism nostalgia is for a probable past. If the series is supposed to be a rose-tinted view of a bygone era, it still begs the question of who is being celebrated. This is the last page, guys. December 15 is the death anniversary of animator and entrepreneur Walt Disney. His quiche is in honor of the man who gave life to many of our favorite characters. This is the last page, guys. If you would like to read this page, you can read for the point of the current events for the banking examinations. I hope you guys have enjoyed the newspaper reading and keep reading for 2 years, put towards daily to make you better in English communication. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have doubts or comments, you guys can leave the comment in the comment box. I'm very happy to resolve your doubts and also give the support for your English development, language development. See you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.